Okay, welcome. We're going to talk today about the buttons that are up in the upper right corner of the menu. More specifically, we're going to talk about the different connection buttons that drive all of the rest of AzStudio. There are two sets of buttons. One is the plugin menu buttons. These buttons will change depending on what kind of plugins you have installed, what extensions you have installed. So your icons on this side of the screen may not look the same as what I'm showing you here. The other side is the static buttons. These buttons will always remain the same no matter what plugins you have installed. We'll start with the fact that all of the information that these buttons bring up is going to be contextual. That is, depending on where your config source is connected to, will determine what kind of options will be displayed here. First, we have our environment. What environment would you like AzStudio to pretend it's operating in? If we open this up, we can see that I have a pretty good selection of environments. We're going to stick to dev for now. You can select any of those environments, and the plugins will automatically sense this change when you change one of these, and you don't have to start and stop plugins or do anything else magical. They'll just automatically respond to the change. The next is, where is our primary data source? AzStudio has this concept of a primary data source or current data source that is connected to. This kind of assumes that you're going to have an SQL server somewhere in your project, and you're going to use that as a database of record. If you're not using an SQL database, that's fine. You just won't use this kind of connectivity. And now we come to the configuration selection. This is going to tell AzStudio which data source to use for its configuration information. When AzStudio boots, it comes up with a what you've either picked or whether it's already assigned to the data source that is used for configuration. In this case, you can change the configuration data source to look at different things. For now, we're just going to keep it in our demo config connection. What that means is that I've told the system that the demo config database in our SQL Server database is our master configuration. Any configuration information any of the plugins pull up will come from that database unless I change it. Now let's look down at the status bar. You can see the user logged in. You can see the current environment we're emulating, the current data connection, which happens to be our dev, and our configuration source, which is our demo configuration. All the plugins in the system, all the extensions, all the APIs, they work on this data. They work on these four pieces of data to combine and give you both your UIX, but also your rights. Now, to wrap up this demo, let's show you what happens when you change your configuration source. So we're going to go to our configuration source, and we're going to go down here to our sandboxes, and I hit OK. Now what happens at this point is that a new configuration database is pointed to. So when I select our configuration source again, oh, we get something a lot different, right? It's pointing to all our sandboxes that you do our training in. If I change my environment, you can see I don't have the same environments anymore. And for data, you can see I've got a far different set of selections. And again, that's because our configuration data source has changed. As far as the plugins and the product is concerned, you've done nothing different than you would when you log in. You're just getting your configuration data from a certain source, and you want to interact with those particular items. Another thing to notate just before we leave here is that these submenus, which we have here, can be extended so that when you write plugins for a client or a customer, or for your own products, it's typical that you'll have another button up here with your client's name, and that client's name will then open up into any custom plugins that you've written or extensions that you've written for that customer, and they'll gain all the capabilities of the other plugins automatically. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.